guys, if you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. All right, guys, I'm back, and it's Saturday, or as I like to say, it's Catterday, and we are going to be looking at Q-related news. I apologize for not posting the last couple nights, but I have had a difficult time. I have recorded, you just haven't been able to see it because the files were corrupted. Now, I don't know how that happened or why that happened, but if you're seeing this right now, then I've got the issue fixed. So let's hope. That's all I can say. All right. So we're going to go over and get into some Q-related news. I hope everyone is doing well. I appreciate the fact that I've got some new Patreon supporters, and some people have bought me a coffee here and there, and I really appreciate that. It does help, and it helps compensate for my time and the effort that I put into doing this. So it is appreciated, and it also helps me to be able to upgrade my equipment, like the new mic that I got, and everyone had great things to say about that. They feel that it's much clearer and the sound is much better. So let me know if there's ever an issue. Let me know, because I will do my darndest to fix it. Now, I hope everyone is doing well. There's been a lot happening this week, as I'm sure you are aware. So much happening. And I'm also researching the JFK. So many of you said that, yes, indeed, you would like to see the evidence. And many of you said, well, I'm not convinced, but I'll look at the evidence. Well, you know, that impresses me, because that is the sign of a teachable spirit. When somebody says, well, you know, I don't particularly believe that, but if you have evidence, I'd like to see it. That's a teachable spirit, and I appreciate that. Now, I know that some people are concerned because, yes, saying JFK is alive does make us look like we are absolute crazy people. Don't know how else to put it. And I understand that, and I felt that too. I thought that it was bringing shame on the Q movement, and I thought, oh, come on, you guys, knock it off. You're making us all look like idiots. But then when I got over that and thought, you know what, there's so many people that are believing this right now, I want to know what the evidence is. Once I did that and looked for myself and researched, I came to the conclusion that I believe very strongly that he's alive. Could I be wrong? No, I'm never wrong. No, of course I could be wrong. Absolutely. But I think that's where the evidence leads. So I'm getting it together to bring that to you guys at some point in the near future. And I'm researching some other interesting things as well. Very interesting things. So like the connection between Obama, his mother, and JFK's assassination. Yeah, you wouldn't think there was a link there. There is. So I'm researching that for you as well, and we'll bring that at a later time. But for right now, let's get into the Q-related news. I'm going to keep this rather short for my videos because, again, I'm not sure that this will be able to be used, and so I don't want to waste a lot of time and then not have it be used again. I haven't fixed the problem. I think I have, but we'll see. Also, I'm going to upload this one. I'm going to take a small break to do some chores, and I'm going to be right back, and I'm going to record another one because there's too much to cover in one video. All right, let's get into it. Okay. Here's the first one, in no particular order. As usual, I've tried to kind of group the ones that are similar together, but this is in no particular order, or, you know, well, Sammy wanted to add his 2 cents, apparently. He's eaten. I've played with him for a very long time. He's got water and food, so I would assume that he's just wanting attention. All right. Hospital comes under social justice fire for not assuming man was pregnant. Yes, you heard that right. The hospital is under social justice fire for not assuming that a man was pregnant. So let's take a look at this. This makes the news because a sector of society wants to insist that things like science and biology are interpretational concepts. A hospital is currently the target of leftist activist outrage because a patient came into the emergency room with stomach pains who was properly listed as male in the health records, but he also had some other gender-specific symptoms from another gender, of course. So, the Associated Press reports the transgendered man, reportedly obese and complaining of stomach pains, was misdiagnosed by hospital staff who did not think to check if the man was pregnant. Only much later, when the condition was noted, no fetal signs of life were initially found. This means once the staff came to understand the transgender individual was actually pregnant due to complications, there was a stillbirth. Now, personally, I don't think that that's what caused the stillbirth, because this female that had transitioned to a male, had been taking hormones, looked very masculine, dressed very masculine, came in. His records stated that he was a male, and he did not tell them that he could possibly be pregnant. So what are they to think? You don't automatically go asking a big burly man if he's pregnant, because you might get punched out. I would assume. That's just not a normal thing to ask. So I don't blame the staff, and I don't believe it's fair to blame the stillbirth on the staff either, because he was taking huge quantities of male hormone and testosterone and whatnot. So that is not conducive to the life of supporting the life of a child, because he would be suppressing his female hormones needed to carry that child to fruition and to have a healthy child. So I don't think that's the staff's problem at all. If he knew that there was a possibility that he could be pregnant, then he should have let them know. And at that point, I don't know what they could have done to save the child, but he could have stopped the hormone treatments if he wanted the child to live. All right. The point is not what's happened to this particular individual, but this is an example of what happens to transgender people interacting with the healthcare system, said the lead author, Dr. Daphne Straussma of the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. He was rightfully classified as a man in the medical records and appears masculine, Straussma said. But that classification threw us off from considering his actual medical needs. Well, to tell you the truth, I don't believe that this is the fault of the hospital staff, because if you are, if you look like a man, act like a man, and your chart says you're a man, unless you tell them otherwise, they're going to assume you are a man, that you were born a man, that you have male parts. So if he should have told them that, you know what, I've transitioned, I still have a uterus, it could be something, with my female parts. And he should have said, gee, I missed my period. Another health expert weighed in on the episode. Nick Ryder, a transgender health specialist and psychologist at the University of Minnesota, said training isn't enough. There are implicit biases that need to address. Like what biases? That if a man comes in and his chart says he's male, and he looks like a male, and he's dressed like a male, and he's a big guy with a big stomach, what, are you just automatic? That's a bias to assume that that's a man? Really? Really? Well, then I guess I'm biased, because that's what I would assume, because it's logical. If you tell me you're a man and you look like a man and you act like a man and there's no feminine characteristics about you and you got facial hair, yeah, I'm going to believe that you're a man. I'm not going to check and see if you're pregnant. Not only that, but this man, woman, whatever, had tested positive on a pregnancy test, and he didn't tell them that. Hello? He goes in complaining of stomach pains. He hasn't had a period. He tested positive on a home pregnancy test, and yet he doesn't tell them. He doesn't tell them. But somehow they're at fault for that. It's because of gender bias. Yeah, well, if you tell me you're a man, I don't exactly, and you look like it, you don't exactly want to test this man to see if they're pregnant. Or even ask a man, is there any possibility you could be pregnant? Seriously, you guys, half of my audience is male. Actually, I've got a very even split there between female and male listeners. So, okay, you men out there, if you go to the hospital and you've got stomach pain, would you be a little insulted if they ask, could you be pregnant? Yeah, I think you would. All right, so bias training is said to be needed because a male checked into the hospital. They did not assume other female-related issues. I'm confused. They treated him like a male as commanded by social activist leaders, but the hospital is to blame for not assuming female symptoms could also have been in play. Now that a hospital followed the directives of activists regarding the transgender designation, that hospital is accused of bias for doing what is directed. The 32-year-old patient told the nurse he was transgender when he arrived. So I guess he did tell them that he was transgender, but he did not tell them that he had taken a pregnancy test and tested positive, or that he had missed his period. That sounds so weird. He missed his period. So told the nurse he was transgender when he arrived at the emergency room, and his medical record listed him as male. He hadn't had a period in several years and had been taking testosterone, a hormone that had masculinizing effects and can decrease ovulation and menstruation. A home pregnancy test was positive. Sidestepping certain biological issues here, how about some common sense? Allowing for all the possible confusion, would it not have been incumbent upon the patient to tell the staff about the pregnancy test? Why is it that the hospital is said to have been negligent when in truth the staff acted in a fashion that is normally commanded? It's true. We are constantly being told if someone demands to be recognized as a particular sex, regardless of their birth gender, it is wrong to not accept them strictly as the gender they state. But now it is also wrong for a hospital to treat a male as a male, even when they see male on the health chart and not presume female characteristics. This is just obtuse thinking. It is rampant idiocracy. Absolutely. This particular case, while certainly not an average encounter, it is a prime example of what can transpire when social desires collide with scientific realities. Hospitals need to operate with a certain level of biological standards to diagnose and treat patients correctly. To pass off responsibility onto the institutions and not make it incumbent on the patient to be as forthright as possible will not lead to more clarity, but instead to more issues like the one described here. Now, I don't think in any way the hospital can be blamed for the death, the stillbirth of that child, because number one, you don't know how long that child was stillbirth for. The child may have been dead when the patient came into the hospital. Secondly, if he was taking large quantities of testosterone and other male hormones, that is not conducive to supporting the life of a child. That's just common sense. So anyway, that's it for that. I know I've got up on my little soapbox here, but it just bothered me when I saw that the hospital was being held responsible. Just not right, not fair. All right, let's go looking. Let's look at this. Can't remember what this is. Oh, yes. Now, let's listen to Trump here. I gotta love him. He's very forthright.
Get credit for this. The press doesn't give me any credit for anything, no matter what I do. No, it's true. It doesn't matter. Look, who cares? The people know. The people know. That's why I have to go through a different source. It's called do speeches and go with our social media stuff, which is quite powerful, I must say. But they're very dishonest. And, you know, we're right now dealing with Iran. And they put out so many false messages that Iran is totally confused. I don't know. That might be a good thing. No, they put out the fake news. They put out messages. These people right back here. They put out messages that I'm angry with my people. I'm not angry with them. I make my own decisions. But I'm angry with my people. I'm not angry with my people. I'm worse than they are. They're worse than me are. They're more militant. Mike Pompeo's doing a great job. Bolton's doing a great job. But they make it sound like it's a conflict. And the good news, I was thinking today, I said, gee, what must our adversaries think? And then I look and I say, you know, it's probably a good thing because they're saying, man, I don't know where these people are coming from, right? But they put out false, you know, they say confidential sources. Do you ever notice they never write the names of people anymore? Everything is, a source says, there is no source. The person doesn't exist. The person's not alive. It's bullshit, okay? It's bullshit.
I wanted to play that for you for a couple reasons. I guess because it's just an illustration of how forthright our president really is. And second of all, if you are listening to the mainstream media, which of course I don't suggest, because none of it is real anyway, they're reporting what you're hearing about Iran in the media, according to Trump, is BS. So there you go. That's right from the horse's mouth. And I think he should know, right? And he's always been one for calling out the media, and he's done it again. He's called them out on their reporting of Iran, of the Iran conflict. So there you go. I think that's interesting to hear and important to know. So let's go on here, because we have lots, and I'm going to have to move quickly to even get through it in 2 videos. Now, I wanted you guys to see this if you haven't already. No, this isn't really Q related at all, but it's interesting news nonetheless. Grumpy Cat is dead after helping millions of people smile, and this makes me kind of sad, and I'll tell you why. This cat, first of all, is responsible for the whole memes becoming so popular, wildly popular. It started with this cat. Second of all, this cat has feline dwarfism. He was born with feline dwarfism, which probably contributed to his death at an early age. He died at 7 years of age, which is really young for a cat, to tell you the truth. Both of my cats, my one cat lived to 21, and my other cat is 22 years old now, and yeah, her days are probably numbered, but she's still living a good life. So it's unusual for a cat to die that young if they're being cared for correctly, which I believe that this cat was. But it got a kidney infection from which it did not, or bladder infection, and it didn't recover from that. And they had to, I assume they put the cat down because they said it died peacefully at home in the owner's arms. And I know at least here you can have vets come to your house. And it's not any more money than if you took your pet to the vet, and it's a lot less stressful for the pet. Anyway, so that made me sad, because Grumpy Cat, here's this cat that's, you know, disabled really in a lot of, you know, ways, and not the best looking cat because he does look grumpy. But these people adopted him, gave him a good life for 7 years, and look at how many people the world over this cat has made smile. So isn't it interesting how, you know, God can use something like that just to bring smiles to others? And this cat would have been discarded, probably would have been put to sleep. But I just think it's a wonderful story, but it made me very sad. It really did, because everybody, I bet you can go anywhere on the earth and they probably know who Grumpy Cat is. So it's a little bit sad. All right. Okay, now let's look at this. This is something else that's going to make you go, huh? I'm sure you have heard of the 11-year-old drag queen. Desmond is amazing. He's been the darling of the mainstream media and has made his rounds on all the talk shows. And apparently, you know, there's been a lot of controversy with this young man, well, young drag queen. And one of them is that he was at a bar, at a strip club, basically, performing with middle-aged drag queen men, and you know, the men were hooting and hollering, and I don't even know how it would be legal for him to be in that environment, to tell you the truth, but his parents were fine with it. So anyway, let's go down here. Okay, 11-year-old drag queen Desmond is amazing has been making the rounds on media for over 2 years now. He, along with another little boy who calls him Lactatia, has been the subject of glowing spreads in publications like Elle, as well as being celebrated on shows like Good Morning America. All along the way, liberals have promoted what's going on as empowerment and progress. Yeah, not what I would call progress, but anyway, It says this 8-year-old boy loves transforming into drag queen Lactatia, and he won't let other people stop him from doing what makes him feel accepted. Disgusting is too mellow of a word for this, as things have only gotten more disturbing as time has progressed. 9-year-old drag superstar Lactatia at RuPaul's DragCon with a message for her haters, wearing her infamous sequin onesie from the House of Man. This is Desmond, and let's listen to what he has to say.
I was born in Pride Month in the year 2007. Gay pride means self-expression to me. Hi, I'm Desmond is Amazing. I'm 10 years old, and I'm a drag kid, and I live in New York City, and I am an LGBTQ activist and advocate. I discovered that I wanted to drag when I watched the first episode of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Now, I'm just stopping here for a second. He was 2, and his parents were letting him watch RuPaul's Drag Race. Is that appropriate for a 2-year-old? I don't think so. Okay, maybe I'm way old-fashioned, but I wouldn't let a child watch that, to tell you the truth, because a 2-year-old is pretty impressionable. So that's when he first wanted to be a drag kid.
When I was 2, then I moved on to like little dresses. Then I moved on to making outfits. I got my inspirations from designers like Alexander McQueen, Betsy Johnson, Comme des Garçons, Jean-Paul Gaultier, the club kids, their fashion and the makeup, not the bad things, the Blitz kids of London. And if you want to do drag, just start off with a little wig and some lip gloss and a little like t-shirt and a little skirt and some heels or sneakers, whatever. You can be a drag queen no matter what. I've always been able to be myself because of my supporting mom and dad. Say hi, Mom. Hi. That's my mom, and I love her to death. Drag is a form of expression and being yourself and dressing however you want and looking fierce no matter what you're wearing. Even if your eyeliner went down and it's like so bad, you still look fierce. My motto is be yourself always, but I like to add this on. No matter what anyone says, and pay the haters no mind because they're not as fierce as you.
So there you go. Now, this young man has been subjected to all sorts of things. At times, to me, he's looked like he's been drugged right out of his head. And as well, he's been allowed to pose naked with, or pose with a naked middle-aged drag queen, I guess. So yeah, there's a lot here that says, as Pride Month comes to a close, Desmond is Amazing, the 10-year-old drag kid from New York, is proof that the future is queer. At 10 years old, Lactatia was photographed posing with a naked man. Now, I don't think that was Lactatia. I think that was Desmond is Amazing. I could be wrong there, but I really don't think it was him. But anyway, 10-year-old drag kid photographed with naked adult drag queen on Monday. 10-year-old Canadian boy Nemes Quinn. Okay, so it was Lactatia. And there you go. I was wrong. I have no idea how authorities didn't react, but they didn't. Were they scared of the blowback from the LGBTQ community? I don't know, but it's crazy that a 10-year-old was allowed to take photos with a naked man without any repercussions for the parents. Now, Desmond is Amazing is back in the news after a video has emerged of him hanging out with another middle-aged drag queen mimicking snorting ketamine, which is a horse tranquilizer used in clubs as a psychedelic. And here it says, this child needs to be removed from his parents. He is an abuse victim. This is horrific. Now, let's watch this. Here he is. There is the middle-aged man. And just listen. Oops, sorry.
Come to a world where drag kids actually exist. What has this world come to? It's come to a world where drag kids actually exist.
And people do ketamine on a couch.
How old is your BF? Hello?
Yeah.
Hitler was right. Helicopter ride.
So they he says, what does this world come to? It's come to a world where drag kids exist. And he says, and the middle-aged drag queen behind him says, and let me see now. I can't remember exactly what he said.
What has this world come to? It's come to a world where drag kids actually exist.
And people do ketamine on a couch.
And people do ketamine on a couch. Now, they're on a couch there, and then Desmond goes, like, as you know, recreating snorting ketamine. Yeah, and he's 11 years old. He's been subjected to clubs, dancing for money, you know, been subjected to all of this, and his parents let him hang out with other drag queens that are, you know, twice his age, 3 times his age. Not safe at all. Anyway, this video is tough to watch because of just how sad it is to see a child abused like this. No kid is naturally this way. This is learned behavior pushed by his parents, who have a desperate desire to be famous. His mother, who's been promoted alongside of him, is an awful parent who has no business retaining custody of her child at this point. Children have been taken away from parents for far less than this. That's not to say all those cases are legitimate and that the government doesn't overstep at times, but in this case, you've got an 11-year-old who's clearly being emotionally and mentally abused. He's also being exposed to dangerous lifestyles, hanging out with mentally ill men who like to dress like women, do explicit drugs, and take naked pictures with minors. There's nothing normal, safe, or healthy about this. This is child abuse, plain and simple. It's time for authorities to step in and do something, and I could not agree more. I don't know. If someone had told me when I was a kid that by the time I was the age that I am now, that if they described the things that were going on in the world, I would have called them crazy. There's no way I would have believed it. And yet, it's what's happening. All right. Now, this from Donald J. Trump. All people that are illegally coming into the United States now will be removed from our country at a later date as we build up our removal forces. And as laws are changed, please do not make yourselves too comfortable. You will be leaving soon. Wow. Now, if that's not, and Viking Scott, who is actually a listener, and this is from his Twitter, says kaboom. Now, that is a big boom, if you ask me. That's a huge boom. All the people that are illegally coming into the United States now will be removed from our country at a later date as we build up our removal forces and as the laws are changed. Please do not make yourselves too comfortable. You will be leaving soon. Wow. That is, well, it's, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. Now, I've missed something here, and I want to show you this. This is Gavin Newsom, okay? And he's Nancy Pelosi's nephew. So he says, I'm Nancy Pelosi's nephew, and I've been in California government for 16 years supporting Governor Brown. Here's what we've accomplished. Highest poverty rate in the U.S. at 20%. That means in California, 1 in every 5 people is in poverty. 1 in 5. Wow. Highest state income tax in the U.S. Well, that would explain the poverty, wouldn't it? Yeah, let's tax these people in poverty even higher. Yeah, sure. Second highest gas tax in the U.S. 1.3 trillion state debt. Highest homeless population in the U.S. And yet we have people that, they're wanting to run for president. Yeah, no. But, they're Nancy Pelosi's nephew. Yeah. Yeah, they're all connected. Remember, Q said that there was it 3 families that run California, and they have for decades. So it's like a crime syndicate. That's exactly what it is. It's a crime syndicate. Highest poverty rate in the U.S. Well, there's something to be proud of. Yeah. And Nancy Pelosi should keep her big trap shut because California has the highest poverty rate in the U.S. Like, and yet she faults Trump on everything. She is quite a trip. Not a good trip. All right. And it says here, this is from Donald Trump. So it was indeed just proven in court papers, last in his class, Annapolis, John McCain, that sent the fake, yeah, John McCain, he was last in his class, that's right, that sent the fake dossier to the FBI and media, hoping to have it printed before the election. He and the Dems, working together, failed as usual. Even the fake news refused this garbage. Yeah. You know, when the fake news, you know, rejects it, that you got it. It's got to be really bad if they reject it. All right, now, here's some good news for you. Yes, I said good news. Breaking, the Horowitz Inspector General report is now in staff review and is being briefed to principals. So we should have this probably by next week, the Inspector General report. And before the Inspector General report comes out, the declassification has to happen. So we've got a lot of things that are going to happen in a very short amount of time. Now, we've only got 2 weeks left in May. Unbelievable, but true. It's flown by. I don't know where the time goes. I feel like time has sped up. I don't know if any of you feel that way, but I really do. I feel like it's just speeding by at the speed of light. Anyway, the Horowitz IG report is now in staff review. Very good news indeed. And look at this. I think this is good news as well. I didn't know this. This from Mike Thomas Payne Moore. Watch, Kelsey Grammer says Trump has accomplished more than Washington clowns have in 60 years. Now, I agree with that, and I'm sure you will as well, but I didn't realize that Kelsey Grammer was a conservative. And I most certainly didn't realize that he was a Trump fan. So I think that this was something to mention if you didn't know already. It says, watch, Kelsey Grammer says Trump has accomplished more than, let me see, one of the few Hollywood conservatives, Kelsey Grammer of the TV's Frasier, is singing President Trump's praises for doing more in 60 years than all of the Washington clowns. So I'm not going to take you out there because we don't need to read it. I just wanted you to be aware of it. That's all. Now, also, I thought this was a very interesting meme. Of course, Alabama has now outlawed abortion. And, you know, just like as if they have won the war, these babies are raising the flag, reminiscent of many iconic pictures, to tell you the truth. Alabama takes on Roe versus Wade. And, of course, this is a victory for the babies. So they are raising the flag. I think that's a good meme, and I wanted to show it to you. Now, it says, this from Representative Jim Jordan, if the FBI didn't take the dossier literally, then they shouldn't have used it to get a warrant to spy on an American citizen. And Lisa Mae Crowley responds and says, no kidding. Yeah, that's my response as well. No kidding. Yeah, they didn't take it seriously, and we now know that. We now have proof of that. They didn't take it seriously. So why did they use it to get a warrant to spy? That's a good question, isn't it? Yeah. I think we know. But yeah, now let me see. I want to show you this as well before I break, because I don't want this to go too long, and then I will be back. I promise, unless something catastrophic happens. Catastrophic. That would be a catastrophe. Okay. I love this. Okay, this from I Love My Freedom. More lies. Pelosi claims she never said there wasn't a border crisis. What? Yeah. She tripping. Okay, let's look at this. This says everything without me having to read anything.
We have never not said that there was there is a humanitarian crisis at the border.
This president just used the backdrop of the Oval Office to manufacture a crisis.
President Trump must stop holding the American people hostage, must stop manufacturing a crisis. We have never not said that there was a crisis. There is a humanitarian crisis at the border.
The crisis on the border is a manufactured crisis.
They are engaging in what I would call manufactured moral crisis.
We have never not said that there was a crisis. There is a humanitarian crisis at the border.
This so-called crisis at the border is fake.
This is a crisis of his own making because it was a campaign pledge.
We have never not said that there was a crisis. There is a humanitarian crisis at the border.
The Democrats, if their mouth is open, they're lying. It seems that way. Now she's saying, oh, we never said there wasn't a crisis at the border. There's a humanitarian crisis. Oh, yeah. But, but for the last, how long? It's been over a year. They've been saying, oh, this is a manufactured crisis. No, nothing wrong at the border. Trump's just making this up. No problem. No problem. Anyway, so wanted to show you that. Absolutely. Something you definitely need to see. Now, let's see what other trouble we can get into, because actually, I think I'm going to break there, and I'm going to come back. I may do another 2 videos, to tell you the truth, because I got a lot of news to cover. So let's break there for now, and I'll get this uploaded, and I will get working on the second video. So, yeah. All right. Talk to you soon. Glad you stopped by. Thanks for listening. I appreciate you guys more than you know. And I hope to see you soon. Stay safe, stay well, stay blessed, and always seek truth, because deception bites.